Hey, everybody, welcome to the October meeting for the Health of Higgins Lake Steering Committee. It's a relatively short meeting tonight, a brief meeting, but we're welcome. We are interested in any comments you might have. And there's a couple opportunities for public comment, and we're happy to hear them. So call a meeting to order at 7:02 and join me for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an abbreviated agenda and we have an abbreviated board. We've got one member that is that Zoom on there?
It is June, yes.
Okay. We have one member that's on Zoom and another member that's, I believe, in Europe someplace. So we have a quorum. We just need to take care of a little bit of business, and then we'll get into a couple of comments. Roll call, Jolie.
Digger,
Yes.
Loser, yes. Tyson,
Just make a note that June's on for Zoom.
yep. Walker is absent, Slime.
Here. I would entertain a motion. You should have had a, well, I first entertain a motion to accept the agenda as you got it in front of you. So. Moved by Bigger. Support.
I mean,
Joel, you're gonna have to be at them.
yes, I support it.
Is there any discussion, any comments about the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried for the meeting agenda. We need a motion to accept the minutes of the September 16th. And I included those in a copy of those in your packet.
Yeah.
Motion to approve those minutes?
By me, I motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second. Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We need to get in, this next one would be, we need to get into the record that, the reports. We'll back up about these subcommittees, they're gonna come up again, but, at the last meeting, when I switched over after Stan, I tried to streamline just a little bit how we were gonna get the information from the subcommittees and how the best way to keep from duplicating, from them having to do the work twice. We try to get it done just once and have the report once a month from each of the subcommittee chairs. So I think last month, what we landed on was getting a report from the sub chairs at the end of the month. So that I can, or the chair can, consolidate those and get it onto one document and get it in front of the township boards Thursday, which is the first Thursday of the month, which only gives you a couple days to get it together, but I think that works just fine. And then that way they kind of, I or whoever can get it in front of the township board and they can review it for their work session. And then, of course, after it's reviewed at the work session, it'll be accepted in their minutes at the next township board meeting. And then once it's approved there, then it is essentially, it's a little bit backwards here, but now it's on our agenda to approve those reports that were submitted at the first of the month. So these are the September subcommittee reports, and there's somewhat lengthy. There's 4 or 5 pages of what all went on last month. So
That's the back,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Pages 1.
Yeah, well, through 6, I think. 6 or 7, looks like 7. Give the 7.
Okay, so that is what's already been reviewed by the township board.
Yep.
Okay. So we need a motion to,
Motion to approve the September subcommittee reports as attached. So moved.
supported by me.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor, by aye. Aye. Opposed. Okay, that gets us through the boilerplate stuff. I open it up to any public comments on the agenda items. Is there any comment from the audience that, you have any questions about the agenda or anything else for that matter?
Jim, are you trying to get this subcommittee reports by your work session or by your regular board meeting?
By the work session,
By work session.
Which is-
Thursdays.
which is the first Thursday.
And then the following Tuesday.
Following Tuesday is the board meeting.
When you're checking about the lake and stuff, I was reading like you're doing the things that we kind of already know about the invasive species and traffic and stuff. I know like especially in front of our place, the sand, the whole shore, of the sand has changed.
We're
Since when
on
is-
Honolulu Beach, right across from Treasure Island.
Yeah.
So it's that big bay there.
Mhm.
When you step on it, it's like mushy and there's black after it. And we've seen that even over by the North Shore and stuff. And I wondered, is that part of the part that you're gonna be checking too, or?
I think that's one of the conditions that the science committee is looking into, can we just hold that for just a jiffy, and because we're gonna get to it, the science committee, Brad's in on the Zoom there, and he can tell you what we're working on, and we'll get down to that very question in just a minute, okay?
That's fine.
Any other public comment? If not, I have one chunk of old business, moving on to old business. And that was the watershed management plan. This was brought up briefly at the last meeting, and there was a grant opportunity that focused on updating of watershed management plans. There is one for the watershed that Higgins Lake is in, and it was last updated in 2002, I think. Is that right? Yeah, 2002. So it's 25 years old now, and it needs to be updated again. And it's a big project that reports about 75 pages, I guess, and there is a lot of information in it. And the grant opportunity that came along was at a really fast turnaround as to apply for it, like a week. And I've talked with, as I talked with people that have been involved in the original one and know what this is all about, it seems like it makes more sense for us to take a step back and wait till next year and make sure we're ready to go and try to update that plan at that time, rather than trying to dive into it with lack of resources and not enough time to really get it done right. So I just wanted to get that on our record and give you that update. So that watershed management plan, it's important. It has everything to do with coinciding with what the health of Higgins Lake is all about. So we'll look forward to that in the coming up next year. On new business, this is where we would ask any of our subcommittee chairs if they had any issues or concerns or I didn't see any other public comment. I don't think so. Well, she's coming up. We're gonna get to it here in a second, right now. This is where the subcommittees have an opportunity, the subcommittee chairs have an opportunity to let the steering committee know if there's something that they need to be involved in, some resource they need, or some issue they need to have coordinated with other subcommittee chairs or whatever. This is their opportunity to bring it all together. So we make that available to them. Now, like I said, they have a report that they will prepare at the end of the month that sort of consolidates everything they've been doing for that month. That all gets put together into a single report and up to the board. But this is their opportunity to, there's 5 or 6 subcommittees. This is their opportunity to jump in and talk to the public about any issue they might have or whatever. Now, the first one on there is the Science Committee. Brad Gibson is the chair of the Science Committee. And could I get your name, ma'am?
Kathy Courier,
Kathy Courier.
Would you spell your last name?
Currier.
The old Bob She's property.
Yes, how'd you know that?
I've been around a while.
He was too.
Brad, could you put Brad, you available?
Yep, I'm here.
Did you hear the question earlier, Brad, about Kathy's comment about the bottom of the lake is changing and
I did, and I was going to, when I do my full report, I'll be glad to talk about it.
okay. Well, you're up. So we're
Okay.
ready. So-
Okay. I guess that's set up so I can't, you don't have my picture, but that's fine. So what we've been working on with the science subcommittee from when we started back in the spring was to, one of the first things we had to do was like to address what problems we were trying to address. And after a lot of discussion and we came up with 8 problems that we're trying to address. And out of those 8 problems, we then developed a list of questions we want to address. So the very first one, not in any particular order, but one of the problems is the nearshore water quality, and that includes, the condition of the water, but also includes how the sediment has changed, how has algae growth and other things changed in the nearshore. So basically we're studying the changes that have occurred in the nearshore is one of the problems. So that does address the question that was asked by the audience member. A second one is the invasive species issue, which I think we're all familiar with, and we think it's having pretty dramatic impacts on Higgins Lake. And so we have a whole list of issues that we're trying to deal under that category. Another one is the groundwater and drinking water contamination. So if we have groundwater and drinking water is contaminated, that is related because the groundwater, it does eventually find its way into Higgins Lake. So that is a third, we're calling them subcommittees. So subcommittees of our science subcommittee. We're looking at the overall, the fourth one is the overall watershed quality and all the things that are impacting the watershed, which will ultimately impact Higgins Lake. And we have a list of, most of these have 8 to 12 or more issues underneath each category that we're looking at. The changing fisheries, the fishing environment has changed dramatically over the last couple decades at Higgins, and we're looking as to what are the things that are impacting that. We're looking at not only the nearshore water quality, but we're looking at the deep water quality. So what we know about Higgins is sometimes it's 2 separate lakes. It's what's going on in the nearshore might be very different than what's happened in the deep water. So we have a group that's looking at the deep shore water quality and the changes that have occurred over the years there. We're looking at 7th problem is the recreation or the impact of increased recreational activities on the lake, different boating issues, wake boats, number of boats on the lake launching, all of those things that we're looking at. And the 8th problem is the non-nutrient contamination in the lake. So we know we have some increased nutrient levels in the lake, but there's also non-nutrient things like PFAS, pharmaceuticals, and those things. So our committee has broken into 8 subcommittees that are addressing each one of those. And what we are doing is we've created a kind of a format of how each subcommittee will operate. And first thing is to define the problem, which we've generally done as an entire group. Okay. Then is to gather the data. And I'll come back to that in just a second. The third thing is to review the data and make it comparable because there might be different measurements, different timeframes, different scales that are used. So we got to kind of look at that data and then determine really the validity of that data. I mean, is it still relevant today? Is it not? All of that. Ultimately, then we're going to complete an analysis of all the data, and the final step is to write a report. So the way it'll work is the subcommittee will issue a draft of a report to the entire science committee, the 21 of us that are there, and we will then have input at that point. We may say, hey, go back and look at it some more. Have you looked at this issue? And ultimately, whatever report gets sent to you guys as the steering committee will be adopted by the entire science committee. And I'd like to just take a second to talk about the data, which really was one of the initial things we did was, if you've been around here and listened to a lot of the stuff that was going on when the sewer was being discussed here, everyone had this report and that report and this study and that study, and we're citing them. And we decided we needed to gather in one place, have a repository for all of them. And at this point, I haven't looked recently, but we're close to 50 different studies, reports that have been put together and saved on the software that's called Nextcloud. And then we've also have some software, Zotero software that has been, once these studies have been submitted by our committee members, has been curated by a few people in our committee, and so that they've become searchable. So what our subcommittees can do is they can go onto this Nextcloud website and use Zotero and say maybe they want to look up phosphorus, and then they can search phosphorus, and all of those 50 some reports that are out there that may have some have phosphorus as a part of their report, that report will open up to them. So it is it's going to be a great tool for our subcommittees to do the research. So that's where we're at. It's taking quite a while to get there, but we just have some incredibly talented and committed folks on this committee, and we're excited to get going. So we are now at the point where the subcommittees are working on their own, and we are then having monthly meetings. We had twice a month meetings. We're going to go to monthly meetings. And for the next probably 3 or 4 months, we're just going to be getting subcommittee updates, we think. And then we as an entire group will maybe give them some direction or thoughts as they're moving forward. So that's where we're at, and we're hoping as these reports become available, they'll be forwarded to you. My guess is that the different subcommittees all the subcommittees are not going to take the same amount of time. Some are going to be much more detailed than others, but as we look at those and get reports and get approved by our board, they'll be submitted to you guys as the steering committee. So I know I talked a little fast there. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Brad. My name is George Courier. I'm in Garrish Township.
Mhm.
I've been coming up to this lake for 68 years now. And just some of the observations that I have made. We're on Honolulu Beach, which is right across from Treasure Island there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. And the thing that I've been trying to figure out what the common denominator might be with everything. We frequent Flag Point, we go to the South Park at times, and we've noticed the sand at Flag Point, and I don't know if the common denominator is more wave action, but it's pristine. It's like it was 60 years ago. Same thing with the South Park, and that's all traffic down there. So I can't imagine traffic is an issue, but that's just my observation. Now, in our bay, obviously, not like the South Park, all homes in front and very stagnant water when you get west winds. And the other thing I'm thinking, aside from the stagnant water over periods of time, we used to have thousands of clams which filter the water. There's none. The zebras have killed them all. And zebras, I think, I don't know the exact number, but they do just a fraction of the filtering that clams do. And I'm just wondering if you were to introduce freshwater clams, is there enough zebra mussel activity that would just kill them all again? Or are the zebras under control now? Because I really think not having a filtration system natural like the clams, it's kind of like an aquarium with nothing cleaning the bottom. So it becomes like sediment. And I think the reason it's different, like at Flag Point, I said, is I think there's just so much wave action, so much boat action. I think it keeps it filtered or stirred, whatever you want to say. It's just my observations, anyway.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts. We as a committee, we have a lot of folks who have a lot of different theories on this, and we're taking the approach is we're going to let the data lead us. So we have I don't know, what is it? I think 4 or 5 PhDs on our committee. We have some who are who specialize in water quality and have worked at high levels of government in it. So we're going to, lean a lot on those folks, but we are trying not to come up with the conclusions before we start, if you will. Your ideas may have great validity, but we're trying really hard because a lot of people, when the sewer was discussed, everyone was throwing out their own theory of things, and I think one of our things we've been charged to do is to look at this and see where the data takes us. So I appreciate your comments. I can't really respond to them other than saying that we're going to look at all of that. So yeah, I just don't want to get too into the details, and we're just gonna find out where the information takes us.
Yeah, I guess my only point is I just wanted to say, that's the biggest change that I've seen in the lake over the last 68 years is there was clams and crayfish everywhere, 60 years ago. Now you can't find one.
Yeah, we've had those discussions. That's part of it. And I will just tell you what we think right now is that the zebra mussels are on the decline. It's the quagga mussels that are in our lake now. They're having a bigger effect than the zebra mussels have.
I'm sorry,
So we
what was the mussel?
Quagga mussels, they're called.
Quagga?
Yes.
How do you spell that?
I think it's Quagga, something like that. I don't have it in front of me.
Huh, okay.
So yeah, check those out. We think that has a bigger influence than the zebra mussels now.
Okay, thank you.
It's interesting to me. I'm sure Brad's made a note of it, and we'll see if that doesn't keep rising to the surface and let somebody weigh in on it, but it's had some experience with it, so. Okay. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Any other comments on Brad's information? I guess I meant to weigh in earlier on. One of the different things that we're doing, got a pretty good crowd tonight. One of the things that this committee, that the Help at Higgins Lake project has looked at is, this is kind of Brad touched on it. It's one of the first time that any of the government, the local government, has tried to coordinate an effort to take a consolidated look at what's going on with the lake from a lot of different perspectives, and had it focused at the township level. There's been a lot of committees, a lot of special interest groups, a lot of people that have a keen interest in the lake that have taken a crack at studies, and they're all good. And that's the studies Brad's talking about. They're the ones that are being evaluated. 40 or 50 of them. 40 or 50 of them have been out there, yeah. But we're trying to take, and just like you said, work as a part of the township. We're trying to coordinate all of that and have it on a report back to the township on it. So we've been about a year at it now, and a little less than a year, and we hope this is gonna it will result in some good information, and hope it's a framework for a way to evaluate some of these things as we go along over the next few years.
And you might mention the digitizing the files. Those.
Yeah, all the files that were out there, some of them were simply, hard copy files that we had, that's all been scanned and put into, so that they're searchable, so it's become a good repository for, all of the data that's been.
Comparing data over all those years.
Okay, Sue Gelder-Bloom is gone, she's still there?
No, she's still there.
Okay. Sue Gelder-Bloom is, the chair of the communications committee. And, her group have done just an incredible job of getting the information about this initiative out. And I'll let her talk about some of the stuff that they're working on. If you want, just Sue, go ahead.
All right, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We are pretty much over the hump of the initial everything. We're sort of in work along mode. We have set up 2 email campaigns a month. One called the Ripple Effect, which is a committee specific newsletter that will focus on one specific committee or one specific topic. And that will go out around the middle of the month. And then there's the committee reflections, which will come out at the first of the month, which is basically bits and pieces of every committee, the highlights of every committee that will be distributed once a month. And that'll be sometime around the first of the month. At this point in time, we have around 200 emails that are going out if you include all the people that are on our committee. We continue to work to try to build our email list. So that's a work in progress. Social media, we're posting on social media on a regular basis, pulling information mostly from the report that Jim has given to you guys after you guys look at it and approve it and say everything's good. The website, we're still working on the website. Still, we've made some improvements. There's a lot of improvements still needed to be made. But as time goes on, we have more information to put out there. It was pretty sparse initially because none of the committees had done anything yet. For community outreach, this last month, we had a booth at the Firemen's Memorial Parade to hand out information and try to gather emails. We're going to do more of that next summer and in the spring. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot we're going to do in the winter with that. We also met with professor from Grand Valley State who's involved with a lot of water researchy type things that have done opinion surveys before to try to get a handle on what people think the biggest problems are and what some of the barriers are. And I think even try to figure out how educated or not aware people are in the community about different issues. We are meeting once a month now until spring. Looking forward, we're also trying to gather, we have been trying to gather all of the different associations around the lake and contact person. And in the long-term plan, we're going to try to attend their annual meetings and talk about the health of Higgins Lake and gather more emails to try to just get more people informed about what we're doing. So I can answer any questions, or if anybody has any ideas of something that we're missing that we should be doing, we'd certainly like to hear it.
Hey, thanks, Sue. Any specific comments to Sue's, talk there? Like I said, the communications committee is doing a great job of getting, our story out there and communicating with the general public, so.
Thank you.
Next on agenda would be information technology, and I think I saw Ed on there.
I'm here.
There he is.
So
With you.
as far as the IT subcommittee goes, we've completed all of our Nextcloud onboard training. So we had several training sessions for Nextcloud. In addition, so for those of you who don't know, Nextcloud is our collaborative software space. It allows all the subcommittees to share files and folders and has worked out to be a pretty effective system. In addition to that, we have worked on the Zotero literature management system for the science subcommittee. Getting that set up, we've worked closely with the science subcommittee, curating the various documents that have gone into the system. I think we're up somewhere around 40 plus documents now. I haven't looked recently. So in addition to that, some of the things that we're still working on is getting Zotero running on Macs and on Linux systems. Actually, it's running on Linux systems and it's running on Macs, but a few of the users are still having problems with the Macintosh interface, so we're working on that. And as always, we're doing cross-committee support. We get involved with communications in terms of supporting various things with the website and various things that communications do. And so we're working forward with that. Additionally, we're trying to get some of our daily tasks automated because we don't have a deep staff. And we're making our way through that. So if you like, I can just continue on with, unless someone has some questions, I can continue on with the funding subcommittee.
Yeah, Ed.
Okay. So on the funding subcommittee, Jim, as you had mentioned, there was the Ego outreach with HLF. Right now, we had no quote unquote shovel ready projects and trying to rush it out the door didn't make sense. So we backed off of that. In addition, we are going to be working with the communications subcommittee. We're going to be implementing a donate button on the HOH lake-org site so that people can give to the Higgins Health of Higgins Lake initiative. And so with that, there's also been some discussions with the community survey and things of that nature going forward. And last but not least, we are going to be coming up with a calendar of grant deadlines so that we have a rolling calendar of opportunities so that the various subcommittees can see what grants might be available at this point in time. And if someone has something that they think that might be able to be funded by a grant, there'll be a calendar of that. And we're still working on that. So that's basically the report for the two subcommittees I chair. If anybody has any questions, please shout.
Did you get it covered? Is there a question? It looks like you got it covered, Ed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Move along to roads. I see Tim's in the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be best, Tim.
Give me your, can you hear me? Yep, okay. Doesn't sound like it's coming through what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, so we met on several occasions through October. I'll get you the reports on those.
Can't hear you, Tim.
All right, who's there and how's nice. Is that better?
But yeah, that's better, yeah.
Yeah, so several meetings, we had Probably the most important one was, I had lunch with, Kevin Hobbs from Lyon Township, the treasurer. He had asked if he could, I think through the chair, if we could be part of the road end committee. And we thought that was a good idea, because we were searching for people in Lyon that could come along with us or do some work. He actually has already done his 1/5 of the road ends. He did those like the next day after the meeting, went out and evaluated
Excellent.
8 road ends. So he's ahead of all of us now. But I saw this product he sent back over to me. It's well done. So that's good.
Good.
We've still got another 37 or 38 road ends that we have over in line to do. We've got some paperwork that we're behind on the garish stuff. The actual data collection is done, but we've got to get it down onto the data sheet so we can present that as a final document to everybody. We're using the same data collection sheet that they used in the previous 2 reviews of the lake programs. One was in, I think, 93, and the other one was in 2010, so we're probably on target for every 10, 15 years. Probably overdue. We have seen some changes on some of the road ends that just in the last 15 years, things that have been done, so that'll be good, that we'll be able to get those documented and take a rough guess at how much material is still into the lake.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you can identify trends since in between what you collected and the 2 previous ones.
We haven't seen anything that been adverse at all so far, so that's a good thing.
It has not been adverse?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything that's gone the wrong way.
Mhm.
Most everything that we've looked at has some kind of an improvement on it, either some of it's through the neighborhood associations have come down and done some work at the road ends. Planted flowers and put some railroad ties in, and maybe put some rocks around the edges and stuff like that. To help manage the stairs that are in it somehow. And the 319 grant was to put stairs in a lot of them to help that pedestrian access, because that's really what was at some of those road ends at Tusk was just pedestrian. There's some work that we had no idea was done. We thought we were at the wrong road, and when we were staring at it, it didn't look like the pictures at all, and it said there was supposed to be a big gully, and there was no gully there, and somebody had put railroad ties in across the gully, and then backfilled it so that water wasn't coming down and being channeled. So that helped that road end tremendously in its final course. So it'll probably take.
Just did that on our own, or was it?
Yeah, it was not part of the grant program. There are still some that are rough. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We got to figure out there's some challenges on some of the bigger ones. When you're looking at 16 to 20 tons of material a year going into the lake, and you have no idea what it is in that material, as far as chemicals or whatever. So that was one of the thoughts we had as a group. We were going to ask the science committee to maybe come out. Once we get the worst ones identified, they can come out and take water samples during a rain event. We sort of see what's being flushed down into the lake. Probably is near shore water quality, or whatever, one of the subcommittees, maybe can come up and show us how to do it.
Yeah.
Or I'm willing to help.
Right. Has the road commission been helpful, or have you had?
We had much contact with it. Yeah, we're just going around and doing the actual data collection, and then once we get those done, we'll run down and I'll talk to Roger and Neil and Brad most likely, and we'll get that information so that they can look at it and see what they think about it, see if they have any comments or criticisms or whatever. Roger was helpful. He gave me a lot of older information that I didn't have at the beginning, so he already went through his files back in the day. I think the 319 grants are still available. I'm not sure if they're called that anymore or what, who handles them, but I think there is that money still out there that we could probably go for. Actually, Kevin said that he thought that his board would approve hiring they have a grant writer
Mhm.
for the Lyon Township. So
Oh.
about this sheep that from, you know,
Whatever that's.
it's a charity for animals.
Yeah.
So, no,
Oh.
so.
Yep.
It's a part-time job for her, but she's looking for grants for them for different
Carrie?
things. Carrie, yeah. So, I mean, up to him since he offered that up, and I'm sure he,
Yeah.
I get 3 votes too. But,
Oh, he's recorded, you got him on record.
Yes, yeah, he's a good guy, he'll be a big help. He actually said he would go out and try to find a couple other Lyon Township residents to ride along with us when we do ours.
Uh-huh.
Cause like I said, I don't wanna be the garish 4 or 5 running over there and.
Yeah.
Tell them
That's
what's
good,
wrong and
that's
what
good.
they have to do. I want them to be along for the ride, to see what it's about, how it's done. And then we'll go back and explain it. I think once we get a line done, we'll go back and make another presentation to his board and see what they think about it. So,
I'd only comment for those in the audience that this is. Yeah, this started and initiated by Garrish Township, but it is. Always been their intent. This is a lake-wide effort. That's something that's. We were looking at the entire lake, just not the 2/3 of it that resides in this side of the, in this township. So, wherever we can. Share resources, if we can join together to address things that are common to the whole lake. They were doing, that's exactly what Tim's talking about. Now we've got. Initially, it didn't look like we were gonna have a lot of support, but we do. Kevin jumped in and now we've got we get a lot of support from Lyon Township on this road and speed, so
yeah,
that's good.
I think once they see the data, and then how it's collected and it's all consistent and actually one of their own, but. And maybe some other people that they're confident in, we're writing on, the other ones
Yeah.
are trained in doing it.
So the treasurer is.
Like, yeah, he was at the last meeting and he went very well. But ours are in bars, so they always go well.
Yeah.
How can you go
How
wrong?
many crowd and everything.
But I know I got 3 meetings, I think we know, in September, October. Our next meeting is this third. We'll meet up again, we'll see if anybody else has their data collected. I haven't seen it from anybody else, but. I can send that stuff to you if you want to take a look at what. That for you 1 week.
I'm good to wait on.
Yeah.
You know, until you're ready.
It won't be that long.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably have mine done tomorrow or the next day. It doesn't take.
So you split up
time.
your committee with certain, each had certain number of road ends.
Yeah, and then we. Sort of identify hopefully 8 or 9 that each person gets in Lyon Township. And I think it was 8 or 9 here because we have 4 people, 9 or 10, I guess, we have 38 here. Well, we identified the worst of them. Where we really want to pay attention to what's going on, because if a road end is, my dad is putting in, 100 pounds versus 20 or 30 tons in a year.
Yeah.
There's not much we're gonna be able to do to stop that 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But there's a lot we could probably do to stop that 20 tons. And so we identify each one of those, which ones are the worst. And then we're gonna come up with a suggested plan and run down to the road commission. So this is what we think needs to be done. Hopefully you'll help us along, especially if we can get some grant money. Because we're gonna need somebody to be, Garrish Township could be the authority that goes forward for that, mine could, or the road commission could do it, and that's in the past who did it. Because they're there every day, So we'll try to run it through that same kind of an idea and come up with 319 money, hopefully, or some other money. To help us go down and start making plans. And I think once it's funded, road commission will be happy to take on that work themselves. They'll do it just like they did in the past. They'll come up with a plan, they'll come up with an estimated amount. They did that for the last 30 years. I'm sure they'll do it again.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of the legwork for them, and they're going, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be plenty happy to jump in.
Yeah, we're not reinventing some of the numbers. They have slope numbers that are the first 100 feet, the first 500 feet, whatever. And they actually have a surveyor out there, from the top of the hill down, saying this is how steep it is, because the more steep it is, and more steep material, the more tonnage is coming in. So, and being concentrated doesn't help a lot of them. You can spread it out, convert some of it along the way. That's really the main thing to do. So
West Pine probably one of the worst.
West Pine, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, you get long runs of, especially big paved roads coming down the hill, pretty steep hill, and then the road commissioner, of course, comes out and tries to puts a lot of sand on it, so you can get up and down it.
Yeah.
And it has a concentration, small concentration of salt, so you're trying to melt some of that ice off of it, but also give you some grip to get up the hill. Well, once the spring runoff comes in, all the snow melts.
Right.
Anything that you placed on that road is probably coming down through the subsurface sewer system or just flat out running into the lake.
Yeah.
So I think spring would be a great time to, we
Yeah.
have everything completed and identify I think there was 22 hotspots in Lyon out of the 48. It was like 17 or 18 in Garish out of the 38.
So it's pretty well balanced roughly on both sides.
Yeah.
Same number of rodents approximately too, isn't
A little more on the other side,
it?
but yeah, probably 10 more on the other side, but and a few more hotspots over there. There's some pretty good sized hills coming down towards the lake that have been paved over. So
Birch.
Birch is a tough one.
So there's
One down.
a 319 grant, so what is the 319 grant?
So back in the day, I think it was federal money run through the state, but at the time would have been the DEQ, I think. Or DNR, I think. But we equal now. So I think that money's still hanging around at federal level. You just gotta go try to chase it down. It's clean water money now, I think.
Oh, it's
So,
Clean water money.
yeah, so I think that's where the underlying theory is. That's, I think, where we're gonna have to get it, but I actually saw a post of water 319 grant. So that made me a lot, and definitely it's still around to be applied for. But it allowed, I think it was 15 rodents to be repaired and knock down the amount of materials going into the lake. Either by building a storm sewer system to collect it underground, with the silt way out of it and let the water run. Or just steer it off as it came down. Sometimes there's some really nice rodents that have been improved under the 319 grant, and then I did a lot of repairs off my crews, did a lot of repairs on them like 10 years ago.
They're holding up yet?
Oh, yeah, some of them were, big disrepair. Nobody had looked at it in 10 years. But once we figured out that it was road commission responsibility to go out and take care of them, maintain them. We set up a schedule to have people go out and do what they were supposed to do, which was, put the plantings in, and then make sure the plants are still there 10 years later, and if they're not overwhelmed with silt, that's all it is.
Take some maintenance, especially identify that those that need to be maintained, those that need to be new construction or more construction. Yeah, it's a great project. It's a great chunk of what we're after. So.
And I think we're gonna try to meet with some of these neighborhood associations that have been doing some work on the road. I think the most impressive one we saw was Woodlawn. It was St. Lawrence, which was a horrible road, and now it's really quite impressive what they did all on their own.
Yeah.
So there's it'll work to meet what it needs to be done.
That's a Pat's folks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very impressive what they've done.
Yes, now we just gotta fix the stuff that's upstream of it. It's a pretty steep gravel road and it's washing out on both sides,
Yeah.
and that material has to go somewhere.
Right.
And you can't just drag it back up. the
Yeah,
hill.
that's mostly stone now. I mean, so much of the, yeah.
So it's got easier shot at the lake.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to figure out what we can do from County Road 200 coming down. If there's a suggestion of what we can do coming down that road. Back in the day, we fixed up the other side with 200, so they wouldn't come over it, be further into ditches, which is what we want. And if we put a ditch in, that's great, but a lot of these right of ways are 30, 40 feet, there's just no room to do anything. And then houses are fairly close to them. And sometimes there's a bank, a country curve bank this high on both sides, there's not much you can do. It's a canal running to the water, so you gotta figure out what you're gonna do. What materials are you gonna use? We're gonna just make some suggestions, go down and try to sell the road commission on.
Yeah. Good job.
All right,
Yeah, excellent.
we should have something, I think, in the report, it said mid-November. I think mid-November, so I think it's.
Okay. This question back to you.
When
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
think your report will be ready for the public to see?
Well, we've got probably. Well, we've got most of Garish done. We've got a little bit of paperwork to clean up. I want to do like a QC on all the ones that were collected because there's a lot of people doing the collection that have never done it before. I want to make sure they did it correctly, that they used the template, they didn't make something up in their head. So I'm going to spot check a few of each one of the people as volunteers that have done it. Make sure we got some good data going. But I think probably we'll have something put together by mid-November for people to generally take a look at, and then they can go down and look at their road ends versus what we've recorded on the road ends. Their road ends and the neighboring road ends, because that's what we get a lot when we're walking through neighborhoods. A lot of people will come out and talk to us about what are we collecting, what are we seeing, and what did they see on the count, you know, that's a lot of help, really, if you live right next to it. Be able to come out and tell us what you see on a big rain day or something, so. But I think mid-November we'll have something. It won't be a final document, but say draft on it until we get a chance to do some QC on everything. We want to put it out and make sure it's right. We don't want anybody to come back later and say, I disagree with what you did on road X or something, and you were on the wrong road. That's not a picture of my road or whatever. Because we're taking pictures as well, because the old reports had pictures basically going upstream from the beach and down, probably 50-foot path. So we're trying to duplicate those pictures so that we can lay our pictures next to those pictures and make sure we're on the right road in. And so that's some of the stuff we've got to double check, but that'll tell you where the changes have been. And then we got to find out who did it and why, and where did the money come from? Because we'd like to duplicate that. I'd like to go to those township meetings and say, hey, you did this one, you did a great job. What about going down 3 roads and helping me down there? Because they'll come down on the weekend and it'll be done. We told them what we think needs to be done. What do I look for this one?
Thank you.
Another question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the spring, I think I heard you say you're planning to, during a rain event, go to the road ends, do some water quality
That's what I'm
testing.
hoping for. I'm gonna talk Brad into it, but
And probably the most opportunistic
Yeah.
road ends, or
yes.
the most problematic.
Yeah.
And then will you make that report?
It's up to them whether they post it, when they post it, but I would say yes, they don't usually not to post it.
Will be interesting.
Yeah, and you can see it.
No, exactly.
It was a big rain event. If you're by a road in a big rain event, you know, when it's really coming out, you're gonna see an awful lot of material moving downhill fast. And some of the soil will lay out, but a lot of the other stuff will walk right out into the lake and it will carry away all the materials that have been put there to stabilize it if it rains really hard. You have it in the spring when the snow is melting and it rains. You can see an awful lot of stuff coming down into the lake, so.
And if you can identify those materials, it could really make
Yeah.
a case.
Yeah.
For,
That's what we think. I mean, if you're putting in 16 tons of material or 22 tons of material every year for 15 years. On the end of that lake, and you have no idea what's in it except for the sand that you can see and the silt that you can see and the rocks that are coming down. There's more than that. There's more than just the gravel and stuff coming down. There's obviously something in the water. We just don't know what it is. Let's know what it is. Because it's coming all the way down from the top of the watershed, basically.
well, that could really help get people's attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have a list
Yeah.
of. this
We
is
intend to make all that stuff, everything we can, everything public, you know, along.
We're committed to that.
We'll make sure that stays out in the public where they can use it.
Yeah, and right now, the only reason is we're not showing the information.
Not
complete. And that's just not complete.
Yeah,
It's
right,
not-
yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I
want to get it done, make sure it's right, get it all together, and then anybody that's in the audience or out in the world, they can look at it. And like I say, they can comment, they call, tell me I'm wrong, come over and take another look, or show me what's going on, which is fine. Or hopefully they agree with what we put together. But we're hoping to come up with another plan, and if we don't have 319 money, hopefully we'll have another plan, and we'll have people that are willing to help us do it in those 20 or 30 road ends that are still big producers. we basically said anything that put more than 400 pounds a year into the lake, you should look at it.
Mhm.
But it goes from 400 pounds to, I think one of them was 66 tons. 66 tons.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable number. I don't even believe it. But if you run the formula, it comes out to 66 tons. So there's something we can do there to knock that down. If they knock it down in 10 years down to, 16 tons or 22 tons, that's a big move.
Yeah.
Now we gotta get it from 22 down to that 400.
400.
So. All right.
Great, thanks, Tim.
All right.
Appreciate it. Nice job. Very good report. Thank you. Okay, moving on to septic, that'd be me. I'm the chair of the septic committee. I'm the interim chair of the steering committee until we find a replacement for our previous chair. But I am the chair of the septic committee, and the septic committee continues to meet every 2 weeks, and we have been, there are about 10 people on that septic committee, and we have been going through, we've met with the health department to get a better understanding of what their requirements are. We've met with some of the construction people, the producers, not the producers, but the haulers that are dealing with the everyday septic. And we've analyzed and looked over the certified inspectors list of people that are okay to go out and do an inspection for the health department and pared that list down. And as we've gone through that, it's all been with the mindset that we're gathering information and a better understanding so that we can come up with an ordinance that will eventually work its way through the township government. The process that will work is that this septic subcommittee is now taken this information and has taken and created a list of attributes that we want to see in an ordinance. The various conditions we want to have the ordinance take a look at. Once we get those attributes, we have done those attributes, we have reviewed them, we've consolidated them, and we've sort of vetted them out as a committee. And now I've kind of taken those attributes and stuck them into a document that we're working on, it's reviewing now, and kind of parsing the stuff out of it that we don't want and adding in the new stuff that the attributes are listening for, are looking for. And from there, the septic committee we meet again next week. The septic committee, I'm hoping at that meeting will go through the attributes, go through the proposed ordinance, the very, very early draft of the ordinance, and say, this is what we're looking for. This is the general direction we want to go. And then we will forward that up to the steering committee, and the steering committee, this is by process in order to get any of these decisions that need to be made are supposed to run through the steering committee, and then the steering committee will send it up to the township board to have a look at. Township board will then say, in general, is this what we want? Is this where we want to go? Is this the direction that we think the township should move in? And we've had some input from the board as we go along. Actually, I'm on the township board, but we've had input from the township board to what they would like to see happen in an ordinance. And so with that, they will put their comments into it and forward it on up to the township's planning commission. The planning commission will then do the work of creating an overall ordinance for the township board to consider. And that ordinance would be the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and have, ready to go, come back to the township board for their final yay or nay, and go from there. So, yes, sir.
is all this steering committee and all this, is it involving both Lyon and Garish Township when you talk township?
This is just Garrish Township.
Just Garish.
This is a Garrish Township initiative. The Help the Higgins Lake Initiative is set up for Garrish Township.
But we have some people.
We have a lot of people from Lyon Township that are involved. They want to be involved in the Help the Higgins Lake. They just happen to live in Lyon Township. I thought your question had to do with is there.
Well, I was just wondering if they determine there's an issue with septics or whatever comes out of it. I mean, would it just include Garish or because there's a lot of Lyon townships who have action too there?
Yeah, the Lyon Township is currently working on, my understanding is they're working on their own ordinance in Lyon Township. And yeah, it's probably not ideal, but nevertheless, that's the way it kind of is. We're going in, a single lake-wide common, septic ordinance would be nice. Whether we can get there or not, I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's tough when you have two townships in a way. Three.
So, three townships,
Three townships.
two counties. So the septic committee, I think that sort of fills you in on what the septic committee is doing right now. We're in the process of getting this. We've met with the health department. We've had several meetings with the health department, in fact, and they are very encouraged by what we're doing and very willing to work with us on the draft of an ordinance to make sure that what we come up with is going to be something that they can work within. They will have enforcement, their code will be enforced to its level. And if our ordinance is additionally restrictive, let's say in some area, they will work with us to make sure that the public is made aware of what those extra requirements might be and help us through that. So any questions on the septic committee is doing? We have at least a couple members here from the septic committee, so it's work in progress, and I think it's coming along nicely. We'd like to have something to the township board in soon. I'll say I better not put a date on it. Soon we're going to get something up to them to take a look at. So that's the gist of this meeting. Are there any other public comments on what you heard tonight, or questions, or anything you'd like us to address? And if not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Kathy Courier
Yeah.
and
George Curtin.
George Courier.
Yeah, but then there was two others.
That was Nancy Lamb.
Okay, we're at the first question.
It was with regard to the road commission questions.
Oh, same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will meet again in the third Tuesday of November. This committee meets on the third Tuesday of the month.
18th.
Third Tuesday? Did I say Thursday? Third Tuesday.
You know,
13th.
coming around, you know.
I entertain a motion to adjourn. Well, all in favor by aye? Aye. Meeting adjourned 8:05.